Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk. Now, can you use lactic acid and retinol together? That's a question that I often see under my videos. Now, you can theoretically use them together because they do not cancel each other out. And it may work well if you're already used to the products individually, or if you're working with a low strength or overall gentler formulation. Then you can theoretically use them together. However, if you're being new to them individually, if you're working with a very potent formulation, or even over time, you can increase the risk of experiencing irritation or like over-exfoliating the skin, basically making the skin extremely sensitive so that you have to take a break before you're going to use them again. And so to avoid this from happening in the first place, my overall suggestion for you would be using them on alternate days, ideally in your evening skincare routine. And that's the guide that I have prepared for you so that you have an idea of what the entire week can look like when working with such treatments. And I'm going to keep my focus mainly on the treatments individually, so only lactic acid and only retinol. If you should have other treatments, you really have to keep an eye on if you can use them together or not. But overall, if you're working with additional hydrating products, like for example hydrating toner or maybe so, then feel free to add them. This shouldn't be an issue at all, but I just want to point this out so that you know what to expect. And I have prepared for you everything in a PowerPoint so I can share with you the visual guide, but you will be able to either go over the PowerPoint again in your own time or even just save it to your device if you want to recreate the routine by checking the description box down below. There you will find a link, and when you click on it, you can see the entire PowerPoint. So I want to get started now with the PowerPoint, getting started with the first example, evening skincare routine, which is using lactic acid. Now I'm mainly going to go over it based on the steps as well as some additional information, but if you want to know more about how the specific treatments work, how they can benefit you, you will find that information below the example routines in my PowerPoints under the skincare product descriptions. There you will find a specific description on lactic acid as well as the retinol examples that I have picked and all the other products that I have emphasized in my example routines, so that you have an idea of what they can do for you if you haven't purchased them yet but you're thinking of doing such a routine. And we're going to get started again with the lactic acid routine, which you can see right here. So in the top corner, you can see the time of use and the days. So my suggestion would be using lactic acid on Monday, Wednesday, as well as Friday. And then on the other days, you would use your retinol, but of course it would be fine to do it the other way around, depending on how often you want to use your exfoliant compared to your retinol. But just to give you an overall example setup, what it can look like. Here you have again a little summary of what lactic acid is and what it can do for you. And then we have the routine below. So we have the cleansing step, the application of lactic acid, and then the moisturizer if needed, which I'm going to get into. And below you have the overall general guide on how you would use the individual products as well as how much of your specific treatment. So when it comes to the cleansing step, make sure that it's a non-exfoliating acid cleanser. It should be a regular cleanser, gentle cleanser for your skin type. And this can either be a regular cleanser, as you can see right here, or depending on your sunscreen and or makeup that you have worn throughout the day, your regular cleanser may not be able to properly take it off, especially when wearing, for example, mineral sunscreen throughout the day. Then my suggestion would be using an oil or balm cleanser instead, or maybe you want to do a double cleanse. So you will find all that information below on how you then would do this. Then after your cleansing step, you're going to take a towel and pat the skin dry. Now, if it works well for you, after you have pat the skin dry, you can immediately move on to the application of lactic acid. Otherwise, if you feel like it's going to create a bit of sensitivity when immediately applying it towards, after your cleansing step, you can always wait those 5 to 10 minutes in between and then apply lactic acid to the skin, which can already reduce some of the sensitivity. And then you're going to apply lactic acid all over, making sure not to use it on your eyelids, nor too close to the lower lash line, or getting it into your eyes or into your mouth. So please keep this in mind. And then once you have applied it, just give it a moment so it can absorb into the skin, and then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And then you can follow with a moisturizer afterwards. You can see I have picked several examples. Now this is of course adjustable depending on how dry your skin may be, as well as if you feel the need of using a moisturizer in the first place. It will be fine to just use lactic acid on its own because it also has hydration benefits. But if you feel the need of working with a moisturizer, you can either apply it all over your face as well as neck if you have in general a drier skin type, or if you have combination skin, like your T-zone is oilier but the rest of your cheeks and lower part of your face is a bit drier, then just use your moisturizer on those drier parts and avoid using a moisturizer where you're getting a bit oilier. Same would apply to lactic acid. You can also just use it on the parts that you are drier if you do not want to use it on the oilier parts. And so you can really adjust it accordingly based on your skin type as well as where you feel the need. And then again, leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off. And this would be the example routine when using lactic acid. So then when it comes to your retinol, which again I've already emphasized, you can use on the other days, so Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and or Sunday. It also primarily depends on, if you're being new to your retinol, the strength of your retinol and the overall formulation. So I have picked some examples right here. You can see with the Ordinary, in general, those are more gentler formulations because they are in squalane. CeraVe as well, but for example, Paula's Choice has quite potent formulations. And so you can see right here with the examples that I have picked, with the lower strength, it has just a little circle next to it, whereas with the higher strength, you can see like a kind of like a warning sign. And this basically applies to the frequency. So if you're being new to this, you may just want to use it with a lower frequency, with a lower strength. You could use it 2 to 3 times per week. However, with your higher, more potent formulation and strength, you would then just use it only once to twice per week, so that you're starting off slowly and then adjust it until you can use it on the days when not using your exfoliant. So this is individually adjustable. Same would apply to lactic acid. You may not right away immediately go with that specific frequency. It's completely fine to start off slowly, but I've emphasized the days right here on the top so that you can see how you can fill the week if you tolerate it well over time, on how on what days you would use your lactic acid and on what days you would use your retinol. And then again, when it comes to the example routine, it's your cleansing step, then apply your retinol, leave it on the skin once you have applied it. And with your retinol, usually those are a bit more richer formulations or even gels, like lotions to creams. Then you can give it 2 to 3 minutes in between because it usually takes a bit longer to absorb into the skin, and then follow with your moisturizer if you should feel the need. Specifically, as I've already emphasized earlier, on those specific parts or all over. My overall suggestion would be leaving the moisturizer out when working with your retinol, because usually they are already in a richer formulation and basically hydrate the skin when not using your retinol. This can be in the evening when working with lactic acid, or this can be in the morning when using none of them, so that you can adjust it and that you can see what works the best for your skin. So you still have a lot of playroom when working with your overall routines, but I just want to emphasize that this would be then an example. And again, you have the frequency that I've just emphasized earlier right here again. Now, what are you going to do on the days when not working with your lactic acid or retinol? Well, you're going to use basically just your cleanser and then follow with your moisturizer. And that's basically it. You're going to give your skin a break. You can go ahead and do this, but you do not necessarily need to do this. This depends on how well you tolerate lactic acid and retinol throughout the week. So if you're just using lactic acid for the first time once per week, your retinol once per week, well then on the other days, you're going to go follow with this routine. The more you're getting used to lactic acid, the more you're getting used to retinol, and you can really use them throughout the entire week on different days. Well, then of course this specific step would then be not necessary anymore. But I just want to emphasize it so that you have an example routine in mind. And then when it comes to your morning skincare routine, I just kept it towards the most basic steps, which is primarily washing your face with your favorite cleanser that's suitable for your skin type, as well as then protecting the skin throughout the day if you have sun exposure, because you're already trying to repair your skin to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, increase hydration, smoothen skin texture, to some extent reduce pigmentation. So you want to make sure that that work is not going to go to waste. Therefore, sun protection throughout the day is important. And you have the overall general guide right here. Of course, if you have a usual morning skincare routine that you follow, like maybe a toner, maybe vitamin C serum or another specific treatment, you can go ahead and include them in between. Your cleansing step is the first step in your morning skincare routine. Your sunscreen is the last step, always the last step in your morning skincare routine. So you could add some additional steps in between if you feel the need. But that's basically it when it comes to an entire setup of what your week would look like when it comes to your evening skincare routines, as well as what an example morning skincare routine can look like. So below the example routines, you will find more about your retinol and retinoid information, how it specifically works, if you can use it like during pregnancy as well as breastfeeding. Overall, it's best to ask your doctor, but generally speaking, you shouldn't use it, you should avoid it. And if you need to use sunscreen with your retinol or retinoid, yes, but you do not need to follow with the sunscreen in the evening. It's only necessary throughout the day if you have sun exposure. And then below that information, you will find, as already mentioned earlier, the skincare product descriptions, where you can go over it in your own time. And below that, you will find some general skincare tips, like, for example, how you can do a patch test. And after that, you have a specific sunscreen information guide as well that I've put together, including how you would apply your sunscreen, as well as how you can then remove it in the evening. So this PowerPoint includes everything that you need to know when setting up your skincare routine, when also working with your sunscreen, and additional information. So I do hope that the entire PowerPoint is going to help you to work with those specific treatments. And this is what I primarily wanted to share with you. So I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. I'm an independent YouTuber. I buy the products with my own money. I set up the example routines. I test the products myself. So if you want to support my channel, if you want to support my overall videos, my work, and you want to leave a tip, you can go ahead and do so by clicking on the super thanks button below this video, or check out the description box. There you will find a PayPal link, and I would highly appreciate it, and already thank you so much in advance. Now, if you now want to see the individual applications, I'm going to leave some of the videos at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.